master plan of the Ibom Industrial City presented at two-day stakeholders meeting in Uyo. Commissioner for Transport and Petroleum Resources pledges to bring new ideas to bear in running his ministry. Plus, United Nations, African Union, and ECOWAS to mediate in Gambia election debacle. Details shortly. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, the 13th day of December 2016. If you're counting down, it's just 12 days to Christmas. Good morning and welcome to AKBC TV News at 7. I am Abasi Ubong Gordon. The 2 days mourning period declared by the state government in honor of victims of the collapsed Reynolds Bible Church building drew to an end yesterday. To wrap it up, the state government had held a solemn assembly in honor of the victims. The event took place at the State Banquet Hall, Uyo. Government House Bureau Chief Colonel Demefreti reports that the event, which had the God of Comfort as its theme, brought together Akwa Ibom people and friends of the state, most of who dressed in black to reflect the mood of the day. Details will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletins. A two-day workshop for stakeholders in the Ibom Deep Sea project has ended with presentation of the master plan of the Ibom Industrial City and its design principles. The presentation was undertaken by the Daraham Handazar Group, official master planner of the Industrial City.
Presenting the master plan, the project manager of DAR Group, Michel Baracho, who concentrated on concepts of the Ibom Industrial City, said the project will have a focus on industrialization and will be undertaken in 3 phases. The first phase, Mrs. Baracho said, will occupy a land space of about 1,903 hectares with first-half construction that will ensure sustainable development of the host communities, establish industrial polytechnic, and will be left with substantial land allocation for future expansion. The lead economist of DAR Group, Ryan Emetu, talked on the design principles of the industrial city, said it is designed to attract investors, create dynamics to generate employment, improve effectiveness of the deep sea port as an international hub, and also create spaces and buildings that meet international standards. Mr. Emet said the second phase of the project will feature second-half construction and allow further development in the areas of Ibaka, Ewang, Okboso, Eket, and Ikodabasi. The lead environmental and social specialist in the company, John Macaulay, who made a presentation on regional topography and gas to petrochems in the Ibom Industrial City, said the development of petrochemicals and natural gas reserves is to promote diversification in industrialization. Mr. Macaulay said the project will occupy a total land space of about 14,517 hectares and promote export-oriented manufacturing of goods with regional topography of 10 meters above the sea level. The project, then noted, will promote agro and agro-allied business in industrial sector, optimize the key sources of economic growth, and stimulate sustainable social growth of the catchment areas.
Industrial and economic hub. It will bring the growth and growth of a fully functioning and integrated new city.
And it will become a gateway. So it will shift the overall perception of the region to American trade investments. Developing methanol plants and gas liquids industry, you are liquefying your gas.
The State Chairman Technical Committee on Ibom Deep Sea Port Project, Mrs. Mpono Soro, thanked the investors and participants for the support to the program, ensuring them that the project will soon kick off.
This, even though the decision was not of financial institutions like that, it's very appealing to chat with very prospective investors that can wish to access finance. But you will see that some other governments are really coming from the negotiation.
Some committee members and participants at the workshop bared their minds on the project.
What has taken place today
It's a way of showcasing the part of that Akwa Ibom policy under the present government to industrialize Akwa Ibom State.
The Deep Seaport project is a reality. It's a project that is close to His Excellency's heart. It's a project that will benefit Akwa Ibom State people, Nigeria, and even West Africa and Africa at large.
During the conference, there were comparative analysis between this seaport and the other ones that are located in Africa. So it was a well-attended conference.
The Commissioner for Transport and Petroleum Resources, Mr. Oman Essen, has pledged to bring to bear new ideas and strategies that will positively change the face of the ministry. Mr. Essen disclosed this while interacting with staff of the ministry when he assumed duties. The story is here presented.
Force will be set up to manage the sector. He emphasized that the ministry will work toward generating revenue for government and promised to prioritize the welfare of staff. The commissioner advised the staff to be punctual to work, imbibe the Dakada philosophy, and appreciated Governor Udom Emmanuel for giving him the opportunity to serve.
I have no vision of my own. We are all working into the vision of His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. But what I'm saddled to do as a commissioner is to interpret the vision. But I want to congratulate you people for a job well done all the years. From today, there is a new order. This sector is going to evolve into something extremely wonderful.
The Director of Administration in the Ministry, Pastor Aniefio Stephen, stated with the assumption of office of the Commissioner, the Ministry would experience positive development. Pastor Stephen described the Commissioner as a focused and hard-working, promising of staff.
We are looking forward to a new era. We are believing that through your instrumentality, Ministry of Transport is going to have a new sense of direction. We believe in you.
Other staff, including Ubong Essien, Peace Okon, Ekerete Edu, and Aloysius Eto, spoke glowingly of their new boss and pleaded with him to look into issues bordering on their welfare.
I want to really commend you. In fact, I just love the way you speak, and I believe it will be translated into action.
I thank God because your coming is timely.
So I want to appreciate God. I want you to look keenly into you will be ready, and we know you are all out to make a change here. I'm very happy with you.
Also, the Commissioner for Transport and Petroleum Resources has met with transport stakeholders, chairmen of Transport Union, and committees to brainstorm on measures to take the subsector to another level. At the event, Mr. Oman Essen told them that he is determined to ensure the rebranding of the sector to meet government expectation. He said the incessant harassment of members of the public by the task forces has come to an end, urging them to put up good attitude in the discharge of their duties. Mr. Essen called for support from the stakeholders to succeed and assured them of his fullest cooperation. Chairman of Committees and Transport Association, who spoke at the event, congratulated the Commissioner on his appointment and promised their support to make the task of administering the ministry easy.
We stand by you, just like you said earlier. Today is not the day we talk much, but we'll meet with you one-on-one. We'll bring our blueprints and
So we are going to do that. And we plead with you, sir. You come and help us at the marine sector.
And whosoever I know already maybe I'm going to make sure
The Akwa Progressive Commercial Tricyclist, Taxi and Motorcyclist Association at Kotma in Ikorekpene Senatorial District last weekend conferred an award of excellence on the state president, Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong. The event, which was attended by the commercial transport stakeholders and operators across the state, took place at the Old Council Hall, Ikorekpene. The story is here presented.
Speaking at the state government to amicably districts of Apkotma, where confirmation of Okpong's positive leadership style
You're still watching AKBC2 videos. More news after the break. Please stay tuned. Sincerely apologize for the hitch in that story. The Aqua Progressive Commercial Tricyclist, Taxi and Motorcyclist Association at Kotma in Ikorekpene Senatorial District last weekend conferred an award of excellence on their state president, Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong. The event, which was attended by the commercial transport stakeholders and operators across the state, took place at the Old Council Hall, Ikorekpene. The story is here presented.
Speaking at the reception and award ceremony, the Director of Land Transport in the Ministry of Transport and Petroleum Resources, Engineer Kpanebong, said Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong has made immeasurable contributions to the development of the transport sector of the state. Ebong, who was chairman on the occasion, said Okpong has shown excellent leadership capacity and discipline in leading different transport unions in the state. Hence, his peace and development witnessed in the sector. He said Udo Johnson Okpong's ingenuity in leadership has assisted government to amicably phase out motorcyclists from the state capital and put an end to the high rates of criminal activities that were perpetrated by a few criminally minded persons who infiltrated the commercial transportation business in the state. He said the reception and award accorded Okpong by the Ikorekpene Senatorial District of Apkotma were a confirmation of Okpong's positive leadership style and assured the transport operators that with the new administrative restructuring of the ministry to also oversee petroleum matters, the government was poised to serve the operators better. Welcoming guest, the chairman of Apkotma, Ikorekpene Senatorial District, Comrade Kingsley Kong, said the event was to celebrate Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong for effectively leading the group and attracting grants for members. Ekong described Okpong as a resolute and selfless fighter who has stood his grounds for the rights of members of Apkotma and other transport operators in the state. The Ikorekpene Senatorial District Chairman of Apkotma pledged their continued support to Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong. Responding, Comrade Okpong, who is the state chairman of the Akwa Ibom Tricycle Union, AKTU, thanked the Ikorekpene Senatorial District of Apkotma for the honor accorded him, saying the award will spur him to greater service. Okpong said the successes he has recorded in different positions of leadership in the transport sector would not have been possible without the support of Apkotma. He appreciated former governors of the state, Obon Victor Ota and Chief Consul Akpabio, whom he said made immense contribution to the development of the transport sector of the state, and applauded Governor Udom Emmanuel for maintaining a cordial relationship with commercial transport operators in the state. He assured members of the association who were supposed to get vehicles under its revolving car loan scheme that his executive was working round the clock to make the next batch of the project feasible by next year. Okpong encouraged transport operators in the state to continue to abide by the operational guidelines set for them by the government and seek for support for the Udom Emmanuel administration. In a goodwill message, the State Secretary of Apkotma, Elder Uboidet, said the success of leadership in Apkotma was a product of sincerity, commitment, and doggedness on the part of the President, Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong. Comrade Udo Johnson Okpong, he said, has attracted over 55 units of taxes and 400 tricycles and other benefits to the group from 2003 to date.
A socio-political group in the state, the Admirable Ladies Association, has celebrated its 10th anniversary with a call on members to continue to pray for the success of the Udom Emmanuel administration. The event, which held at the St. Mary's Catholic Primary School, Obiofort, Uyo, also featured a front lunch for the acquisition of a bus for the group, as well as an exhibition where arts and craft products were displayed. Uyuko Uswa has the details.
The president of the Admirable Ladies Association, Mrs. Ineo Bongumana, noted that besides being a strong supporter of the PDP and the Udom Emmanuel administration, the group also creates awareness on the need for entrepreneurship and skill acquisition among women. Mrs. Umana said the group also instills discipline in its members and places premium on respect and love for their husbands while raising godly children.
The Dakada philosophy of our dear governor encourages every Akwa Ibom son and daughter to be independent, and this is in line with one of our goals that encourages our members to bring contributions and quality ideas and corrections that will bring about the economic advancement of our state.
In a sermon tagged Admirables, Dakada for Christ, Pastor Comfort Bassi traced the Dakada philosophy to the biblical book of Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1. She noted that beyond engaging oneself in profitable ventures in order to provide for a family, Dakada also means reaching out to the needy and less privileged, as well as positively impacting people within one's environment.
How are we going to Dakada for this price? We have needy around us. We have the less privileged around us. We have those ones that are even begging to eat around us. Reach out unto these people.
Mrs. Choma Uko, a patron of the group, advised the women to live lives that reflect the teachings and tenets of the group. She stressed that as virtuous women, their husbands and society should see them exhibit godliness, hard work, contentment, honesty, and efficiently complementing the efforts of their husbands. Highlights of the event were a drama, headgear tying competition, dancing competition, a 100-meter sprint, among others. Uyoko Swa reporting.
Thank you, Uyoko, for that report. The Pentecostal Assemblies of the World has concluded plans to hold our 2016 National Convention at its convention ground, Miantak, in Banana local government area. The Bishop of Uyo, Superintendent of the Church, Bishop Edward Osutum, in an interview, said the convention will hold from Wednesday, December 14 to Sunday, December 18, 2016. Eyagenopo reports.
According to Bishop Osuton, the National Convention will have as its theme the renewed person. The event, he said, is to win souls to Christ, thereby fulfilling the purpose of Christians on earth. He said the event will hold from 7 o'clock in the morning and 6 in the evening daily, and that lovers of Christ should attend the service, assuring that they will have an encounter with the Holy Spirit.
I don't think any church would be established for just convenience or for the purpose of just establishing it. It must carry out the reason for its establishment. And one of them is winning soul. Number 2 is healing the land, because it is important that the land be healed. And each time we gather, I know that each time we gather, the land has a healing.
The president of the Pentecostal Assembly's Men Auxiliary, Elder Edith Jacob, and the Vice President, National Women Auxiliary, Sister Kaite Tok, said ministers expected at the religious meet are Pastor Karize Sienebong and Bishop Max Sholekman. Others they said will be Bishop A.E. Mbong, Bishop Umo, Bishop Okonkwo, Bishop Ubong Benson, Bishop Osuton, while female ministers of the event will include District Pastor Emeifrem, Pastor Nyangakban, and Pastor Roslyn Akban, among others. Special features of the convention, they said, will be song ministrations by Coxie, the Pentecostal Mass Choir, Cedar drama presentation, cultural night, and teachings.
We also create a platform for the ministers' wives and the female ministers in our midst to come together. We encourage them through teachings, prayers, seminars, workshops to collaborate with their husbands for effective productivity in the ministry. We are not done. We also train our young women to keep themselves through the Word of God and also prepare them for marriage.
The vision of the church is to reach the lost by spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ worldwide and to equip and empower followers of Christ to live transformed lives.
The Pentecostal Assemblies of the World started in Nigeria on September 9, 1941, with Bishop Ebenezer Ephraim as a founder at Miyantak, Mpaden local government area. From there, the church has spread to many parts of the country, including Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Ondo, Lagos, and the Federal Capital Territory. Eyagenopo reporting.
For our national and international news, President Muhammadu Buhari calls on Nigerians to keep faith with his administration. House of Representatives reels out issues that will be looked into the review and amendment of the 1999 Constitution. Also, United Nations, African Union, and ECOWAS to mediate in Gambia over the presidential election results on Tuesday. Mercy Eke reports on this and other stories.
President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians not to lose hope in his administration, despite the temporary challenges faced nationwide. The president also urged Nigerians to have a collective will to succeed and reminded them of the need to stay together, fight together, and succeed together. The president's call was made known in his 2016 Eid al-Maulud message to the nation. According to the president, the federal government is determined to overcome the mountain of economic difficulties and is hopeful that the 2017 budget proposal, which will be presented to the National Assembly on Wednesday, will get the nation out of its economic roots. The House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee on the Review and Amendment of the 1999 Constitution has ended its 3-day retreat in Ogun State. The committee said it looked into the issue of separation of office of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. The committee also said it will work on securing financial and administrative autonomy for local governments, remove the word force from the Nigeria Police, and have defining roles for the Office of the Accountant General and Auditor General, among others. On the foreign scene, Gambia's president-elect Adama Barrow has called for the outgoing president Yahya Jammeh to step down immediately and hand over power. The outgoing president had on Saturday rejected the results of the election after having conceded defeat days back and wants the country to go back to polls due to some flaws during the polls. The Elections Commission said the errors had ballots for one area added incorrectly and increasing Mr. Barrow's vote. However, it maintained that Mr. Barrow still won the election. Meanwhile, Liberia's President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf will on Tuesday lead a delegation representing United Nations, African Union and ECOWAS to mediate in Gambia.
And that's all we have for you on the news this morning. But just before we go, a major look at the headlines. The master plan of the Ibom Industrial City has been presented at a two-day stakeholders meeting of the Ibom Deep Seaport Project in Uyo. It was presented by the official master planner of the project. We also brought a report that the United Nations, African Union and ECOWAS are to wade into the election debacle in Gambia. That's the news. Remember, you can also watch AKBC videos online by logging onto akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45Uyo or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45Uyo. From me, Apasubon Gordon, thanks for watching and do have a lovely day.